Hey guys, 22 Plinkster here. Much anticipated video on this setup. All right, first and foremost, this is a Vudoo Gunworks. This is their Ravage, okay? I've been asked for years to do a review on a Vudoo, and I finally have one in my possession. Vudoo was nice enough to send me this setup, or this rifle anyways, for a review. I first heard about them probably about 3 years ago. People started contacting me and said, hey, Plinkster, you need to do a review on the Vudoo. And I'm just like, it's just another gun, until I got to do a little bit of research. These firearms, now this is kind of a bold statement, but this 22 rifle, in my opinion, is the most accurate 22 rifle, bolt action rifle that I have ever shot in my life. I know that's kind of a bold statement. I've shot and shoots and Lithgows and custom CZs and custom Savages, and I've had some really accurate rifles on my channel. Now I'm going to be comparing this to other bolt actions, not semi-automatics or lever actions, but this one takes the cake. I've had it for probably about 3 months now. I have put probably 600 to 700 rounds through this setup, and let me tell you, it's a tack driver. All right, we're going to do some shooting here in just a moment, but let me tell you why the Vudoo rifle is so special. I heard of some accuracy tests and some accuracy groups that this rifle has been able to put up, all Vudoo rifles, just not the Ravage here. Vudoo makes a couple of different ones, but PRS shooting, it's the cream of the crop. I've heard stories that people shooting PRS matches, and you know, they have their and shoots and their Lithgows and you know, their CZs and all these other bolt action precision rifles, and someone will come up and break out the Vudoo and they'll just drop their head because usually the people that are winning the PRS matches are people who are shooting Vudoos. Now other rifles are winning them too, but majority the Vudoo rifles are taking the cake. Now I've heard and seen on Vudoo's website some of the accuracy they're getting out here. One guy actually put 4 shots on a piece of steel, 4 consecutive shots on a piece of steel at over 1,000 yards. Yes, people are stretching these rimfires out past 1,000 yards. It's just ridiculous. Now today we're just a review, but I want to show some other videos of some long range shooting with this rifle. Unfortunately, here at my place, I can only get off to probably about 100 yards and shoot, but it's just amazing what this rifle can do. We're going to talk more about this rifle here in just a moment, but it's time to do some shooting. I've got a target downrange at 50 yards. I know this is kind of an insult to this rifle to shoot it at 50 yards. It should just make a really good jagged hole at this distance, but if this moron behind the gun can do his job, you should see a pretty impressive group at 50 yards. All right, I have 5 rounds of Midas Plus loaded up here. I'm gonna take off my glasses to shoot. It is so humid right now in Tennessee, and I just can't, my glasses are fogging up on me. I can't see. Never shoot without your glasses, but I have to right here because I cannot see through them. This is going to print a little high. Get everything situated here. Okay. That's a pretty doggone good group at 50 yards. Not a bad group at 50 yards. Now, the Vudoo is based on a Remington 700 platform, okay? So if you have a Remington 700 stock, the Vudoo action will fit it. Also, any kind of Remington 700 trigger will fit it also. They do come with a Timony trigger, and the trigger breaks at about 2 pounds, extremely clean, extremely crisp, but it is interchangeable. So if you have that favorite Remington 700 stock, you can put it on there. Now, Vudoo has 2 patent pendings on their rifles. One has to do with the magazine. It comes with a 10-shot polymer magazine. If you don't want a polymer magazine, they do sell steel magazines on their website. So if you're anti-polymer magazine, you can get a steel one if you want to, but it is shipped with one 10 round polymer magazine. And another thing that they have their patent on is their bolt. A lot of rifles, either centerfire or rimfire, the lugs are towards the front of the bolt or towards the rear. Vudoo are putting their lugs right in the middle of the bolt. This ensures a good lock on the bolt when it's pressed down, and that's what gives you your consistent shot time and time again. You have two stock choices on the Ravage. You have the Renegade or the Ridgeback. This particular stock is the Ridgeback stock. It's heavy, but I like a heavy stock and a heavy setup on precision rimfires, or any kind of precision rifle for that matter. You do have your adjustment right here on the rear, so you can raise this comb to get a good cheek weld, and you do have spacers that you can put on the rear here to make the rifle longer if you are a tall shooter. You do have a level right here, right behind the bolt, so it's perfect in your line of sight. When you're looking through the scope, you can make sure that the rifle is completely level, and you have your M-locks on the left, right, and also on the bottom side of the rifle, so you can mount any kind of accessory that you want. Let's talk about the scope a little bit. This is the Element Nexus. You have probably seen these scopes floating around the internet. I've been using these scopes for a couple of months now, and on this setup, it's money. This is their 5x20 element. You do have your side focus on the left-hand side, and it is an illuminated reticle. Now, the cool thing about this particular optic is that this optic is made the same place other high-end optics, some of the nicest optics in the world, are made. So your turrets are great. I'm talking the tracking on this particular optic is just spot on. The glass is extremely clear. I'm gonna show you some footage right now that I took with the Tacticam, shooting one of those know your limit targets at 100 yards. I know you're supposed to shoot those targets at 50 yards, but I backed it up at 100 yards. I know it's out of focus a little bit, but you either have to focus with that Tacticam on the reticle or on the target that you're shooting. The glass is much clearer, so I had to like split the difference on the focus. So it is much clearer than what it looks on this shot. Enough talking about it. I've got a target set up downrange at 100 yards. Let's see what kind of groups we can do. All right, I have loaded up 5 rounds of Midas Plus. Got a target downrange at 100 yards. Let's see what the Vudoo can do. Rifle is guaranteed to shoot sub MOA if you do your part. Don't mess this up, Dave. That's a really impressive 5-shot group. That's really impressive. That's probably half MOA, so that's probably about a 0.5-inch group. Now, I'm gonna try some different kind of ammunition out of this. I'm gonna try some Ely and just see what it'll do, because you guys ask all the time what this other match ammo does out of certain rifles. So let me grab some Ely, acclimate the barrel with 10 shots, and see what kind of groups we can do. I have some Ely 10X loaded up here. Let's see how well this rifle will group with this ammunition. Okay, you gotta make sure it is level first and foremost. Let me go raise this just a hair. All right, here we go. This Ely shoots a little bit to the left. So when you change out ammunition, first you have to acclimate the barrel to the new ammunition that you're using. Then after that, you should be good. I fired 10 shots. Same stinking hole. I was thinking to myself, don't mess that group up. Oh my word. Well, you saw what happened. So the first 4 shots were basically in just a jagged hole. I was working on probably about a 0.25 inch group. And then that last shot, it opened it up to probably about looks probably about like a 0.7 inch group. It could have been the wind, but more than likely it was me. Let me try it again. All right, loaded up 5 more rounds here. You don't know how nerve-wracking it is to put a group together like that at 100 yards, and it's going through your mind, don't mess this up, don't mess this up, and you mess it up. All right, let me lower this down just a little bit. Let's try another 5-shot group. The wind is kicking. Downrange, it doesn't look too bad. Right here, it's a little bit more wind. Same stinking hole at 100 yards. It's just ridiculous. The proof is in the pudding. Do I really need to say any more about this rifle? So accurate. If you're still with me and you made it through the entire video, you may remember a claim that I made at the very beginning. This is the most accurate bolt action 22 I have ever shot. And I still believe that today. As you can see, I'm gonna show a close up of the groups that I shot with the Ely and also with the Lapua. And this rifle will shoot lights out. What sets this rifle apart from a lot of the other match 22 rifles that are on the market is that what it does past 300 yards. A lot of rifles and shoots, Lithgow, CZ, they shoot really good out to 300 yards. However, after 300 yards, their accuracy diminishes big time. This guy, people shoot these rifles at 600, 700, 800 yards. I saw a guy the other day on the internet, third shot hit a Coke can, a 12-ounce soda can at 600 yards with this setup. Third shot, talking on a cold bore. It's unbelievable. Now, I will mention, you probably noticed this base. I forgot to mention the base. The base, this is a cold shot base. And what this will allow me to do, I know it makes the scope set up really high, but I'm comfortable with my cheek weld. However, when I take this rifle out and try to shoot it at 800, 900 to 1,000 yards here in upcoming videos, I'm going to need this cold shot. And what this cold shot will do, I can dial it like this right here. And each one of those, I am increasing the elevation by a mil. This base has 140 mils built into it. So if I want to shoot out 1,000 yards, I'm just going to have to, crank this up to somewhere around 135 mils, hold dead on or hold for wind, and I should be good. Yeah, 135 mils, that's a lot, but shooting a 22 that's only firing at 1,080 feet per second, you need all the mils you can get. Guys, thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions about this setup, it's going to be in more videos in the future, but if you have any questions whatsoever, you can hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, or just put them in the comments below. And remember, y'all be safe and keep linking.